12th of May, at last I'm on my way. It's been an incredible send-off. Gillian Ruth came up with me and we hired a little apartment in Le Verdon. And on the Sunday we had lots of guys and Marie Chantal from the club. It was pouring with rain. I still had stacks of work to do. And they were great, but some people came on board with dripping oilskins and trying to carry stuff in when I really needed the space and the time to get on. However, the thing was great. And then since then we've had a stream of people every day, and Philippe and Imelda came up and they took us out to dinner. And then last night Claude and Marie-Thérèse came up and they took us out to dinner. And it's just been one fete after another. And then today Michel, Marie-Claude and Patrick came up from the club, and Morel and John came down from the De Sèvres to see me off. And just for 4 o'clock I managed to get away and sail back and forward in front of Port Medoc for 20 odd minutes to enable everyone to take photos, and particularly Ruth actually, to get some nice pictures of Amadeus under sail, and just cracking along in a force 4, wind northwest. I'm now actually past the Point de la Grave, where Gillian Ruth came to wave me off. It was very moving, very exciting to see them there. Now I'm on my own then to Plymouth, and forecast is good. Essentially it's north winds, so I'm actually going into it force 4, 4 to 5 tonight, going along under full mainsail and the new jib from Delta Val, which is probably nice actually. So we're underway. Fantastic.
Friday night, very difficult conditions off the south coast of Brittany, and first thing in the morning I noticed that one of the backstays had virtually totally broken through. The wires had totally unravelled. So 2 reefs in, I put the spare spinnaker halyard back to replace the backstay. And we've got to go across the channel very, very steadily. At last, arrival in Corsan Bay, tucked in behind the hills and out of the big wind. Lovely night anchorage. Arrival in Queen Anne's Battery, Plymouth. Within half an hour I was up the top of the mast changing my stays. I even refused a cold beer, thinking that this was more important. of all the other boats in the fleet, the one that most impressed me really was Roger Taylor's little Ming Ming, the 21-foot Corribee. He's more than a Jester Challenger. He really is an outstanding seaman who has sailed up into the Arctic and has done some amazing feats on board. Essentially no electrics, no electronics, no books. Why read about other people's adventures when you're doing the most amazing one yourself, is one of the quotes I remember him saying. Fantastic, and good luck, Roger. The fact we just get them sort of covered like that, just get it all over your hand, I think.
Yeah.
And what's on your hand now will probably do the whole box, actually. Of course, they'll be so damn slippery, I'll pick them up and they'll go all over the bloody place. I'll
Scrambled everywhere.
curse them with your fingers being cold or whatever. Because these will be the ones I'll be eating last, over the other side.
Oh, yes. What is this meant to do?
It's... No beans. In case you run out of wind.
In case you run out of wind, exactly.
I've got lots of dried
Yeah.
I tend not to drink these things.
Wow. Have you got a fishing line?
Once I'm in the middle.
Sometimes you just sleep a bit longer. Yeah, you feel strong enough to pass this guy.
Photographic, yeah, I thought it said.
Photograph that, everybody smile. Hi,
That's cool.
his French flag.
No, so you can see it's real well.
Dad, do you want to look through binoculars?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting close to them, yeah.
Hooray!
Andy's a good name for the boat, Amadeus.
Well, good. Come on, let's get nearer.
What I'm going
Excellent. So is this a starting point there?
He told me this morning he's going to Bermuda. He's going to Bermuda, is what he told me this morning.
Because he bought it for the specifically for the Rhode.
Yeah.
I love that conversation, so thank you for going.
I think so. No. 2 minutes yet. 2 minutes.
Is it 2 minutes? Damn it. In perfect position.
Yeah, that's definitely rolling.
Come on, my mates. Oh, come on. Come on. It's going.
Tackle's not tackle.
There's Ella Trout.
Get out of my wind, yeah.
And you'll be on his. And you'll be on the box now.
Sunday the 23rd of May, the Jester Challenge has started in a wonderful way. There's terrific easterly breeze. There's only 24 competitors and we left 3/4 of an hour ago off the breakwater. I think I was probably first over the line, which I'm pleased with, and was second or third round the first windward mark. And the next port of call is Newport, so 3,500 miles away. So it's a bit more than round the Cans, this one. Absolutely wonderful send-off by everybody. There was a spectator boat, and all the family and friends, and just unbelievable, really, the amount of support and enthusiasm and everything that they've all given me. So to you all, thanks very, very much. Anyway, now we're creaming down the channel, 5.5 knots, broad reach. I've got Rory McDougall in his tiki catamaran just fine on my port bow here, and I think some of the bigger boats around me. But it was interesting, everyone else got the start a little bit wrong, and the downwind end of it, I was right up behind the breakwater and gained, I reckon, 20 minutes on a lot of the similar sized boats, so I'm well pleased. Meanwhile, the sun shines, on t-shirt, a little bit chilly out, but couldn't be better. Really, really enthusiastic, boat's well victualled, sort out most of the problems, and now it's just an endurance test, really. Just got to go for it. Okay, I'll speak later. 4:30 Monday morning. Very little wind all night, so I've only made 50 odd miles since we left Plymouth yesterday. Just south of the Lizard Point, and I was passed in the evening by the Russian first of all, and then the Swiss, and then during the night one of the junk rigged folk boats, which was very impressive because he just glided by while there was practically no wind, so that was great. northern tip of the Scilly Islands. So now I've set the GPS at 273 magnetic, which is the route towards 50 west and 40 north, which is my next waypoint, some 2,000 miles away. Quite extraordinary. It was beautiful sun till the very moment we were rounding the top end, then suddenly I'm into a wall of thick fog. I got the evening forecast. They're talking about a pretty rough time, 4, 5, 6, and occasionally 7. So this is it. This is the Atlantic proper, and I suspect it'll be a bit like this at the other side. Thick fog, cold, and windy. But yeah, that's what it's all about. So the difficult bit of the channel is over, with all the different tides, currents, and business. Now it's just one big slog. I've just taken the jenny down, put the jib up. Because I can see better behind it, but B, in case the wind really is very strong, I can get a refill again without having to get the jenny down. So, this is great. I'm on my way at last. Well, it's been a lovely day. The wind's been magnificent. It's absolutely creaming along, surfing down the fronts of the waves at I think 9.5 knots was probably the best, at least that anyway. And then suddenly you stop on the back of the one in front and you're down to about 3. So it's quite a wild fairground ride. Progress excellent. Obviously towards the west. The weather's been fine, luckily. Although it clouded up this afternoon, it's cleared up again. And nice sunset now. And Tomajuka, the Swiss competitor, with a 30-foot boat with lovely brown tan sails, she's actually a beauty, is catching me up. And he's now on the port bow, converging, so hopefully we'll be able to exchange signals in an hour or two. His VHS is turned off, so I tried to contact him a couple of times. Perhaps he doesn't want to be contacted, but I think he probably does. Things going fine. I slept a bit in the day, listened to a BBC radio play on longwave, which was very good. Did lots of navigation, trying to work out the best route across. Not obvious, and decisions will still be made, depending on where the next fronts come from. At the moment, good and steady anyway.
solar panel fixed on the deck, and the other one's fixed onto a piece of ply, which I can then move to wherever I want, so it's exactly the right angle compared with the sun. And that's very, very efficient. And added to that, the little 4-gen wind generator. My battery's pretty topped up most of the time, actually, so not too many problems in that department.
Monday, 31st of May, and I've come to the conclusion you have to be totally bonkers to be doing what I'm doing. It's taken me a long time to realise it, particularly in a small boat, because you're just permanently being chucked around from left to right and right to left. And for the time being, the weather's all in 6 and 7s. It's not so much the wind, it's the waves that they create. You literally have to hold yourself down, permanently brace knees, even if you're down below trying to read and so on. It's tough actually. Last night I slept really well, mind, and didn't have to get out once, which is really nice, because normally you're tucked up in the sleeping bag. You realise that the wind's changed a bit, so you've got to get your wet oilies on, you sort of start shivering, you clip on, you go out there, try and estimate what's going wrong, sort it out. About an hour later you come back in, it's pretty cold, set the alarm for another hour and try and get back to sleep, and then an hour later you repeat the whole process again, which is quite tedious. Whereas last night I had a nice hot toddy before going to bed, and it was blowing force 6 but fairly well reefed down, and on the uphill side, so I was literally tied in, and every hour the alarm went, all seemed to be okay, put the alarm straight on again, and fine. Then about 5:30 this morning I was tucked up again and think, gosh, this wind is getting up, so I'll just wait till it's daylight and then I'll put a couple of reefs in. And of course that was a bit of an error. It took a bit too long to get them in. The wind was way up into the 7s by then, absolutely howling in the rigging, interestingly. And I got thrown across the deck once, although tied on. I just thought, yeah, you don't need broken ribs in this game, and so on. And then I got the small jib on, a couple more reefs in, and since then it's been blowing a hoolie. And it's lunchtime now, and I'm wondering how I can jam things down enough to cook. And interestingly, the gas bottle, which has been vibrate up and down, it keeps on bursting into huge, great big flames. You have to keep the flame down quite a lot, even to control it. But that's all part of the fun of everything, isn't it? I said to myself I didn't want it to be too easy, but it's well not. Okay. was Sunday lunchtime, 6th of June, exactly 2 weeks since the start at Plymouth. In fact, we've just survived the first proper gale, which started yesterday in the afternoon, and we've just come out of the other side of the depression through the cold front. And it was a good old battle. Ended up with the fourth reef in the main, and the storm jib up, which I even had to put its reef on. It's a very, very small amount of sail, and we were screaming along. Too much in a way, because after that I then have to start taking sails down and just running with the waves and wind, and perhaps even putting out the sea anchor and all that sort of thing. And then you're into survival technique rather than actual making route. So, touch wood, for now, we were making route too far to the south, but it didn't matter. In fact, at 2:30 this morning, I saw lights of a ship relatively close, in fact very close, and I managed to raise them with VHF. And very kindly they gave me the weather forecast and everything, which of course was a force 8. And it showed me where the centres of the two depressions were. One was only about 100 miles north of me, which actually was a bit too close for comfort. And the other one was off Nova Scotia. So that's a few days to develop yet to see how that one goes. But as a result of that, I actually tacked during the night there, which is quite interesting with that amount of wind, and it took about 3 goes before I could get the bows round. The moon that was there was totally hidden by the cloud, so it was quite difficult to see even where the waves were to try and time it right. Anyway, I got round and was still on the southerly tack, and having come out of the back end of the cold front, the wind is gradually coming round to the west, and then it will come round to the northwest. So I'll stay on the starboard tack, and hopefully we won't be far off the required route. At least the sun will be out this afternoon, once we're clear of all this nonsense. The visibility will be great. So once again, try and get the boat dry, and catch up a bit of sleep. I didn't do much last night, I have to admit. I'll have a couple of hours this afternoon, hopefully, and then I shall be able to shake a bit more sail out and really start moving. 7th of June then, my 60th birthday, in the middle of this amazing place. In fact, I'm recording this from home, because the recording didn't work, but it was 4/7 practically all day, very noisy, very big movements, so no special fete, except that I opened up the cards and messages of goodwill from all sorts of people, which was really wonderful, and it meant a lot to me actually at that stage to think of everyone who'd helped me so much. So, very simple meal, and I think I had a glass of wine, in fact, a third of one, because you couldn't keep it full otherwise. But anyway, we're well on our way at that stage. 15th of June. Disaster has struck. I've lost the mast. We were going fine under just a small gale with the tiny jib and reef down and 4 reefs in the main. Perfectly right. I've been on deck for about an hour and a half. I'd sent the spot message, and then whatever happened, something gave, and the mast broke in 2. Then he came down, he punched a hole in the deckhead, and I've had to come to the conclusion I had to cut it away before it sank the ship, because the seas actually have got quite big. So I'm now riding to a sea anchor off the stern, which is holding me okay, and I've sent out a message, an EPIRB, which normally in 24 hours will be received and dealt with. Also the spot message I've sent out. So there we are. I've got to abandon Amadeus because they'll save life but not goods. So all this work for the last 2 years, up the chute. Oh, it's been a great experience. We've done 2,500 nautical miles since Plymouth, which is excellent. So I've just got to make a bit of order about the place now, work out which bits of kit to rescue, which I've got to abandon, which will be most of it, which is desperate, really. Oh well, if these things are meant to be, they're meant to be. And I sailed into the new moon last night, and it all felt very, very good. And the destination didn't seem far away. So there we go. Let's see what happens if someone can rescue me. So 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I sent out another Mayday message because I heard with my radar detector there was a ship nearby, and using the handheld VHF, because of course the mast was down, there was no antenna up, and sure enough it was an American ship which had been rerouted from 70 miles further south to come and look for me by the American Coast Guards, who received the spot emergency message. And it was absolutely amazing. They got to within, I don't know, in fact I do, it was 3.2 miles of me. When I called them up again, I could see them bold as brass, and they still couldn't see me, and they were saying sort of exactly which left or right, where I am. And they were virtually on me until I put up a red smoke flare. They just didn't see me at all. Anyway, they're very good. They came upwind of me, and I said, I've got 3 bags of bits and bobs, can we just bring those on board? And they said, yeah, no problem. So they put a climbing ladder down from the side, and it was one of the most scary experiences of my life. I'd still got my sea anchor out, which held me relatively still, but the swell was probably 4 metres, so the timing had to be very, very good. And they eventually got the 3 bags up onto deck, and then trying to get Amadeus alongside the ladder without crushing fingers and so on was quite a major feat. Anyway, I did it and got up without hurting anything. And they're on the way to Antwerp. It's a Rhode kind of ferry. A really nice crew. It's an American crew with very sympathetic. And they were just delighted that, you know, I was safe. And in fact, the sea anchor, I think, got caught round the propeller. Although I warned them, I said, "Look, shall I just bring it in?" He said, "No, it's helping, holding us steady." And so there we are. So I'm in the pilot's cabin, right down from the bridge. I've had a shower. I've had something to eat. I've spoke with the guys. I've managed to phone my dad with the Iridium phone and leave a message on Ewan's number. And so, 6 days going the other way. Dead easy, really. So I get all my kit clean. When I get to Antwerp, I get a train back down to Plymouth. And there we are.